Hey everybody, welcome to the October 11 Tinderbox Meetup. Got a small crowd today, which is fine. Typically in our meetup sessions, what we do is we go around the room and we introduce new people. No new people today. We talk about a theme. We don't have one today. And then otherwise, barring a theme or introductions, we just jump right in and talk about our projects. Few things have come up, or two things have come up. One, we have a request to review table view. This idea of a concept called Obsidian Bases has popped up, so I'd like to review that together, and then might as well use this time to learn it. And then I have a project that I've been working on of asking Claude to um, pull together a lot of notes around regulation standards, other kinds of things. And rather than using the AI, I'd like to use a explode transformation methodology and walk through all of that. Hey, Bill, welcome to the meeting. Do you have any topics you want? So let's start with, does anybody have any topics? So we already have one to talk about table view, but does anybody else have any other topics they want to discuss? Hey, Bill,
Would
anything
love to hear more
on your
about.
plate today?
Excuse me, say again.
Anything on your plate today? We're going to discuss table
Um,
view, Obsidian bases, and explode today.
no, you can go ahead and I'm just be a lurker as usual.
All right. Peter, anything on your plate?
Well, I've been revisiting my approach to syncing files to external files. And if you remember, about like a year ago, I was trying to do like an automated two-way sync, and I was looking at timestamps, and it turned out that it was really too unstable to use because there's always a chance that a Tinderbox agent might update the timestamp on a note when I wasn't actively editing the note. So that was causing it to get out of phase, and basically I wound up with a race condition, and sometimes I'd wind up having my working in an external editor get clobbered by a Tinderbox agent updating an internal note. So then my automatic sync code would think that the latest edit had happened inside of Tinderbox when that really wasn't where I was working. So I threw all of that out and went for a much simpler approach. And my new auto sync mechanism has you explicitly select whether a note is in a suspended mode, exporting, or importing. And that way you just manually change by updating an attribute value to which direction you're working in or whether you don't want it to be operational at the moment. And that's working so much better for me. So it's
Okay.
a hair of manual work, but it avoids any chance of a race condition and it's much cleaner.
Is there something you want to show us or share with us on
Yeah,
that?
yeah. Let me show you the file. Hang on, let me do a shared desktop for the Tinderbox window. Hang on just a second. Let's see. Share desktop one. Application window Tinderbox. Here we are. Okay, can you see my screen now?
Yep.
All right, so we have our new auto sync file. Um, I have it set up so I added a couple of custom attributes. One is the directory attribute, and directory is the location on disk where I want the file to be written to or read from. And because it says
And
being a file attribute,
before you dig in again, can you summarize what are we syncing from what to where? What are the different pieces that you're trying to sync?
okay, I'm trying. All right, here's the application I'm using. I'm turning Tinderbox into a parsing expression grammar editor. Um, so I'm building grammars, and let's see. Here's what they look like. This file is source code to the Peggy parser generator in JavaScript. And it will take the grammar that's defined in this file and turn it into a parser function that I can use in other JavaScript code. So basically, I'm editing a grammar that's letting me read and parse files with really complicated structures.
Okay.
Okay, now I could edit it in VS Code, but the trouble with VS Code is the VS Code extension for Peggy does syntax highlighting, which is all well and good, but it doesn't really provide any kind of support for navigating inside of the grammar. The grammar consists of a bunch of rules, and rules refer to other rules. So, for instance, a comment consists of a line comment, or it can be a block comment. And if it's a line comment, then we have another rule defining what a line comment is. That rule defines other rules. But navigating inside of the grammar, once it starts getting really long in the dedicated code editor, is a nightmare. So I thought,
And when you're saying the word Peggy, what is this? Peggy what?
okay, Peggy is the name of a parsing expression grammar generator.
Got it.
So basically, it will build a parser based on using this notation. Okay, so this is the Peggy notation you're looking at now. And Peggy runs as either a command line program or as a JavaScript library. It takes one of these grammar files and spits out a JavaScript source file. And that source file exports a parser. You can import that into another program and basically just throw a string at it, and it will return some data structure after it's parsed your string.
Got it.
So that's the overall application. But the
and is Peggy a command line or something that you installed into or on Tinderbox or having running in parallel to Tinderbox?
okay, Peggy is an npm package, and it's installed with either bun or npm or pnpm or whatever your favorite JavaScript package manager is. And
Okay.
it installs both a command line application that can run against one of these files to generate JavaScript source files. And it also exists as a runtime library that can get imported into a JavaScript program that can build a parser on the fly or use a precompiled library generated by the command line tool.
Got it. So in summary, the answer is yes.
Yeah.
Got it.
Okay. So anyhow, the editor plugin to let you edit Peggy source files in VS Code or whatever JavaScript source code editor you're using kind of sucks. It does syntax highlighting, but it doesn't help you navigate this huge web of rules, because each rule really is a node that has implicit links to other rules that all get strung together by the parser generator in order to produce the final source code. So it occurred to me that it was just like a royal pain using that editor, and Tinderbox actually makes a better grammar editor than the dedicated programmer's source code editors that I had been using, because I want to be able to sort rules by name. I want to be able to jump around between rules on the fly, which of course Tinderbox makes absolutely trivial. So let's see, let me open, for instance, a term can be a Boolean, a keyword, and identifier, and we have it set up so that we have links to the other rules. So I can have the one rule linked to another rule. Now, if I want to see what the identifier rule is, I can follow the outbound link to identifier. There's my definition of an identifier, and I can jump over to that node. So I'm using Tinderbox. I'm treating the grammar as being a big hypertext, and I'm using Tinderbox to jump around between rules and automatically build the output that gets dumped. Now, using Tinderbox's manual, going through the file menu export mechanism is a bit of a pain in the neck because I have to do it so many times when I'm editing. So I wanted to automate that. So we have the idea of the autosync file, and my autosync file is using a rule to automatically perform the export to an arbitrary folder on disk. That means that a given file making use of autosync files can be exporting to multiple places. Instead of having your location set in Tinderbox for the whole project and have everything show up there, I can stick them in arbitrary places on disk, which is a bit of a convenience. So we had the autosync file. And to do that, I set up a few custom user attributes. Let's see. Will you see the inspector when I have that open, or isn't that showing?
It's showing.
Okay, you can see the inspector. All right, good. Now let's go to our user attributes. So our first user attribute that I created for this project is directory. And this is a file type directory, file type attribute. And this corresponds to the folder on disk in which I want the file to be either read from to update it in Tinderbox if I'm editing outside of Tinderbox, or to which I want it to be written by Tinderbox if I'm editing in Tinderbox and I want it dumped to disk. Then I have the file name, and this is the file name with an extension as it's going to appear on disk as a file. And at that point, we have the actual file attribute that is going to get built by joining those two together. So the value of the file attribute is being automatically reset if I edit the file name or the directory attribute, and that will be the file attribute, which is the location on disk for the actual file that I'm automatically syncing. And then, of course, we can click the little folder icon to jump out onto the disk to find the file, which is really nice and elegant. When we're trying to create a new one, we take advantage of the fact that directory is a file attribute, so we can drag the directory that we want the file to go into onto the directory attribute and set it that way. So it's a very simple gesture, just drag out of the Finder into Tinderbox to tell us where we want that directory to show up in the actual Finder on a desktop. So we can jump to the desktop, jump back to Tinderbox, drag the thing. It's very fast when you've created an auto-sync file this way. Our next attribute is sync mode. Now, sync mode is going to be either a default value suspended, which means we don't do any syncing at all, or importing or exporting. If we're in importing mode, on each sync, we will go out to the file on disk, read its content, and then dump that into our note as its new text. If we're in exporting mode, we will process the content of the text to provide escaping, because we want to be able to have a backslash that appears in our text go out to disk as an actual backslash character, as opposed to being treated as a text escape. But you can set that on or off depending upon which variant of the auto sync file you use. So sync mode tells whether we are doing anything, whether we have the file coming in continuously or going out continuously. So this way, basically, it's a conscious manual decision as to which direction you want to be syncing in, instead of trying to have the system look at timestamps and get all clever, and then you have to worry about the race conditions, which again make the results unpredictable. This is totally predictable. I know exactly which direction I'm going in. If I'm in Tinderbox importing and I want to start editing with an external editor, I switch to import mode. Then I go out to the external editor and edit it there. And when I come back to Tinderbox, everything in Tinderbox will match what I did in the external editor. Then if I want to be editing in Tinderbox, I switch to export mode. Any change I make in Tinderbox will automatically get dumped out and reflected in the file system. Then sync result, and this is basically a confirmation, and it will tell you whether syncing is suspended or whether you've successfully dumped to disk. If there's any error, it'll show up there. Okay, so those are the custom attributes we created. So we can drag that out of the way. Okay, now, again, the auto sync file takes advantage of that, and we have an edict and a rule. The edict, which runs occasionally, updates the file to reflect any changes to the directory or the file name. And if we've suspended syncing, we will make sure that the rule disabled is turned on. The rule itself invokes the sync function. Now, the sync function is under hints in our library. And we have our sync function. And if our sync mode is importing, we run the command cat on the file. The filed attribute, of course, is the actual complete file name on disk as to where the file is. The cat command is a command that reads the file and dumps the content of the file to standard out. So Tinderbox will pick that up and set the text of the note to that value. So this way, we're automatically reading the file from disk and loading it into Tinderbox. If our sync mode is exporting, we go in the opposite direction and we dump the result from standard in to that location in the target directory on disk. So basically, this is the shell command that will read from standard input and write to a file on the disk.
And for us muggles, you want to explain like cat and what some of that one of the command lines mean?
Okay, cat is just a Unix directory, a Unix shell command that displays the content of a file to the terminal or your standard output. So if you type cat hello.txt and the content of the file is hello, it will write hello on the screen. So basically, whatever's in the file, it dumps it into your terminal for you to see.
Okay.
And the little angle here says where we want it to be getting the contents of standard input from in this case. This is like a shell redirection, and we're redirecting the input to be coming in from the text file. Actually, from the text file. So basically, instead of saying cat and having pre-written in where the thing is on the screen, we're just sort of redirecting. We're taking from Tinderbox the standard input from the shell's perspective, and Tinderbox is feeding it the location of the file. So
Okay.
you get the idea. Basically, it's confusing, and I'm actually having trouble explaining it because it's so hairy, because they have the Unix redirection commands and the shell command. Don't even think about it. The whole point is you don't have to think about it. That's the beauty. I've embedded it in that little run command statement. Don't think about how it works, because it's confusing, and I'd actually probably have to go looking at manuals and prepare a dedicated talk to explain how it works. Very confusing, but it's been tested and it runs. The next variant is syncing tech. Now, in our syncing tech variant, we don't want the backslash to be escaping characters in the string. Instead, we want to make sure that the backslash characters themselves get escaped. So we have to replace each backslash with two backslashes, which is an escaped escape, so that when the thing gets written out to disk, the escape sequence that would normally be introduced by the backslash gets replaced by an actual literal backslash, because the tech language and anything that relies on backslashes for an escape in the file that we're trying to write has to have the backslash in our Tinderbox source file automatic escape. This means that in Tinderbox, I don't have to do two backslashes to get a backslash. When I go to the export command, our run command will automatically invoke the replacement to double the backslash, so it winds up coming out as a single backslash after it gets exported out of the system. So the whole mess results in being able to have our simple little file here. We have a my string where I've dumped the content of the file. It gets dumped out to disk. It all works beautifully. And here's the sync grammar variant of the shell script. So anyhow, when I'm in my file, I can choose, resetting that to the normal displayed attributes, and we're in text mode. I can be in exporting mode. I can switch to suspended mode. If I'm in suspended mode, nothing happens regardless of which end I edit the file on. If I'm in importing mode, any changes to the file on disk get pulled into Tinderbox automatically for me. Export mode, it goes the other direction. So my only real question, Michael, would be, how can I turn this into a single file module that somebody else could import into their project as painlessly as possible? So I don't want to share all the grammar stuff, because that's just like a dedicated application, but just how can I have one simple file that would cause someone else's system to pick up my custom user attributes that are used on the project, plus automatically have their library folder pick up the export scripts, the prototypes, and the templates?
Sorry, say it again. Let's look at the pieces. Custom user attributes.
Okay, so we have the custom user attributes,
Yeah.
which are directory, file name, sync mode, and sync result. So I
Yeah.
want that to automatically get imported for somebody else. I have templates, where really the only template that matters is just the text template, which is text and children. They probably have it, but there's a slim chance they might not. I'd probably want to prefix it with a name, I guess. So if they do have it, their variant won't get clobbered by my variant. Because that's one of the things I want to make sure that if someone's importing the project into their project, anything they have won't get. So basically, I've got to namespace all of this so that it won't mess up someone else if they have things by the same names. Then we have our prototypes for the basic file. And the tech file, I guess, would be the variant. Actually, I'd probably rename that to be, a / escape file, an escape file, maybe. But the idea is this variant will automatically let backslashes go through and not treat the backslash as an escape sequence inside of a normal string attribute.
Right, you totally lost me on that last statement.
Okay, normally say /T would introduce a tab character.
I don't know what you're looking at. I see a document.
Yeah, I'm not looking at that at all. I'm not looking at anything when I'm saying that.
So can you give us
okay, let me just show this. That's just like an arbitrary note. Normally, okay, let's just have an arbitrary note foo. Normally, if I have a backslash in here and I have a /T when I'm writing it out, that would be turned into a tab. Now, if I'm writing to a file format where I need to use the backslash as the proper character, normally what I'd have to do in Tinderbox is use 2 backslashes. So if 2 backslashes are in a Tinderbox string, on export through exported string, that would be turned into a single backslash. So in the tech variant of my script, I automatically replace any single backslash in the string with 2 backslashes before running it through the export string routine so that they'll pass unmolested out to the external file on export. So that's the whole bit about the escaping the backslash characters thing. Depending upon whether you're writing to a file format where that matters, you may or may not want that feature. So that's why I had variants on the script.
What's your question? I don't understand your question. And where would this be happening?
Okay. The difference is between which of the 2 sync function variations you have. The one sync function does the tech replace in it, and the other variant, the sync function, doesn't do the text replace to double the backslashes.
Got it.
So you may or may not want that. So basically, for someone else to have this in their project, they'd need these 2 scripts in library. They'd need to have the prototypes, these 2 prototypes, and they'd need to have the 4 custom attributes.
Got it. Okay.
And, what's the best way to get that alone in a file with nothing else so it can come in as a module for someone else to be able to painlessly import it into their project without risking clobbering what they're already doing?
So what I basically hear you saying is, how do I build an installer?
Yes, that's it. Yes, that's the question.
Got it. All right.
Okay,
so
we stop sharing now.
We can certainly go through that if that's the rest of. Does everyone want us to walk through the basic steps or process of building an installer? Would that be interesting to people? Anyone? Or do we want to move on?
Or we can do what you wanted to do originally.
Or do we want to do another topic first? I'm happy to go any direction you guys want to go.
I would like to go through the installer thing.
All right. Do we have a second?
Well, I could certainly use the installer because I want to make it easy so that you guys can install this.
So let's do this. We've got an hour, so let's and I think we can probably accomplish most, if not all, of what we want to do to go with that process. And everyone is chiming in, yes, please. So let's do it in your file.
Okay.
Peter, just so that way you have it.
All right, let me reshare again then.
Yeah. And again, there are many, how do they say it in Full Metal Jacket? There are many types of weapons. This is my weapon, something like that. Mine is unique. So there are many types of installer strategies. I can show you the way I've gone about doing it. And we can play around for that. So let me think about the best way to do that. So why don't you go ahead and create a file just above templates called installer.
Okay.
All right. And to start out with, why don't you go ahead and put the say rule to say, put it on in the displayed attributes and the installer, or what did you do? You made it okay. Yeah, put the displayed attributes in the installer, on displayed attributes, put rule and or Scott, rule disabled, sorry. Right, because what we're going to do is we're going to use the rule of the installer to trigger the code. And so if you make that rule, set rule disabled to equal true, that way the rule does not get triggered. Now, I often will also put on, just so there's a fallback scenario, you want to put my Boolean on.
Okay.
And remove rule, you don't need it. Okay, so eventually what we're going to end up doing is you'll uncheck the rule disabled, and you'll check my Boolean, and then that will trigger your installer.
Okay, that sounds good.
So now what you want to do is, so that we're not writing in the rule per se, let's go ahead and create another code note. So create a note called, I don't know, just rule or whatever, or your rule.
Installer rule.
Installer rule, that's fine. And do you have the code prototype installed?
Yeah.
Yeah, so why don't you add that to the, assign that to the installer rule.
Okay.
Here's a little trick, by the way. If you right mouse click on the icon to the left, the rectangle icon, no, on the far left, right mouse click on that, you can assign prototypes that way.
Perfect.
Okay, so that's a nice little trick. Okay, so now we're going to start writing our rule code. Now we don't want this rule triggered unless rule disabled equals false and my Boolean equals true. So you'll type if parenthesis rule disabled. Oh, by the way, the other thing to help you with this process, once you stop real quick, rather than having it be the code note right now, assign the action prototype to this note. Okay. Now what that will do is that will did you assign the action prototype? No, I think you assigned the. Yeah, okay. Yeah, see that by assigning the action prototype to the note, that actually has tricked Tinderbox see this as code that it could be evaluating, and it's a kind of a quick and dirty way to get it to do the color coding and things like that. So you say rule disabled equals false equals false, and then you'll say and my Boolean $ my Boolean equals true. Okay. And then you put the little curly bracket at the end of that line. Give yourself a few lines, open spaces. Okay. So and then the semicolon at the end. So that way this rule will only trigger when the rule is disabled and the Boolean is true. Okay, so now what you want to do is, why don't you give yourself a couple of comments? And again, I'm making up, just to be clear, just for my own psyche, I'm making this up on the fly as we go, so we'll just have to step it along. So there's 4 things that you want to do, and as I'm thinking through your project plan, you want to create attributes, you want to create the template, you want to create prototypes, and you want to move your libraries somewhere. So let's create those 4 blocks of code. So the first comment is create prototype or create attributes.
Okay.
The second comment would be something like maybe create templates. And it could be create or move depending on the complexity of your templates. The third one would be create prototypes. And the fourth one is going to be move your libraries. You know, it could be, again, it could be create or move your libraries depending on if you're having the rule create the code or if you're having the library move the file. And then and I got to look up ATBRef real quick. Let's see if that works. Let me pull up my browser and pull up ATBRef because I don't remember how to do the hint thing. Or why don't you pull up ATBRef real quick for me? So that way people can look at what we're looking for.
We're gonna have to switch to sharing the whole screen, otherwise they won't be able to see it.
All right, then I'll do it. Let me think, what's the command for, I gotta find the command for installing the hints folder. I don't remember. Shoot, what was that? There is an important command where you can have Tinderbox pre-install the hints folder. Hints library, maybe? I'm trying to quickly find it in Tinderbox. Let me ask Claude really quick. Maybe Claude will know. Chat. What is the...
Yeah, I'm trying to find it in a TBRef too and not finding it.
What is the Tinderbox action code used to install the hints and prototypes directories?
Why don't you just go to the file menu and click on built-in hints?
Because we're not trying to do it manually. We're trying to do it with action code.
Oh, okay.
The whole point is to have an installer.
All right. Got it.
Right. So we're building an installer so somebody else doesn't have to do that manually.
Require.
Yeah, that's is it?
Yeah, require hints, it looks like.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. So, and we can test it. So go ahead and grab that.
Okay.
Good job. Yeah, require feature name. That's it. Good job. All right. So now what we can do is and one of the nice steps, one of the, when you're doing this kind of thing before we get too far down the path, it's kind of helpful sometimes just to incrementally test different steps. So for example, if you were to copy this installer rule, no, the note, copying that note, and can you open up a new Tinderbox file?
Yep. Let me start a new one. Save it out to the desktop, naming it installer. Okay, let's see, I have to switch my share then to share the new one, right?
Yeah.
Okay, stop share. All right.
Okay, now go ahead and hit paste. Now copy that code and put it into this note's rule. No, I wouldn't do displayed attributes. Just use the inspector.
Okay.
We can't see it, by the way, if you're...
Oh, sorry. Let me drag it into view. Let me increase the size of that window too, so there'll be more space for us to see what we're working with. All right.
Yeah, Michael, what does my Boolean represent here?
My Boolean is just a default Boolean And because you're going to a new file, there aren't any user generated attributes. So you have to use the default Booleans.
No, I get that, but semantically, what's its role here?
It's just a Boolean. So if you say, if
No,
rule
I mean,
is,
what is
so,
it Boolean
no, watch what happens.
represent?
So if I click on install a rule, install a rule, and by the way, you want to have, why didn't you? No, Peter, what I wanted you to do is copy the rule. And it doesn't look like you actually copied the rule, installer rule from the other note. You copied text. Go back to your original Tinderbox file.
Okay, hang on.
Copy the installer rule note.
Okay.
And paste it. Why is that not working? Because it should copy with its user generated attributes. Or with the system generated attributes.
Listen, none of the user attributes made it.
No, they're not user generated attributes, Peter. My rule disabled and my Boolean are not user generated attributes. So I'm having trouble seeing why this is not working. Let me test something real quick. This is why we do this before we get too far down the line. So we say, I'm going to test something on my side real quick. Let's see. See what you might be doing wrong here. Yeah, so you're doing something. Oh, okay. What did you just manually add?
I just did that manually.
Yeah, I don't want you to do that. So you should be able. You can't share your screen? Is there a way to show two Tinderbox files?
Hang on, let me try to share the whole desktop. Let me stop the
We're
share.
going to be swapping back and forth.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, do you have everything now?
We do. All right, so go back to the Tinderbox file that has the original note we created. Okay, so copy that note. No, okay, so here's the problem. You don't have the rule on this rule disabled. Somehow you deleted the user generated attributes. Not the user, I'm sorry, the system attributes. On the displayed attributes, type rule disabled my Boolean. No, don't reset.
Oh.
You're adding rule disabled and my Boolean to that note.
Oh, I know what it is. When we switched the prototype of the note to action, it must have clobbered.
Yeah, okay, sure. Yeah, that's what happened.
Our displayed attributes. All right.
Okay. Now go ahead and copy that note. Okay.
Okay.
Paste that code into its rule. Okay, by the way, rule disabled needs to be yeah, checked. Okay. All right. So now now what you'd want to do to trigger that rule, go ahead and uncheck the rule disabled and trigger my Boolean.
Okay, uncheck rule disabled and my Boolean.
Like,
okay.
You see, it automatically just installed hints and prototypes.
Ah, very good.
All right. So what we've just done is we've tested that part of our code now works. Now let's move to the next part of our code. So go back to your original note.
All right, we're in the original note.
Okay. And you kind of made the screen too small. It's hard to see. At least it is for me. All right, go up to your installer code and under your create attributes, you now want to go through the process of creating an attribute. So let me look it up again so we don't mess around. Create. Okay, so, and let's drop this in the chat. So we've got that. All right, so what you want to do is you want to use that command, and here's an example. So you want to type create. So you want to type create. I don't know what's going on here. So you want to create under the create attributes, put a line. So you want to type create. You don't have the action is the action? No, we're not done. Is the action there you go. No, I wanted you in your original file, Peter, not the new one, not the test file.
Oh, the original file. Okay.
Right. So under there, type create attribute. It's popping up. You can just select it. Okay. And then you'll say parenthesis. And now you want to what's the name of the attribute you want to create? So you'll like maybe quote dictionary.
Okay, directory.
Or directory, sorry. All right, comma, and then what type, what's its type? And I think you want that in quotes.
Okay.
Yeah, you want that in quotes. Okay. And then a semicolon at the end.
Okay, so this is in the original file.
Right. And then you want to say, okay. Create another one and then do that for all 4 of the attributes you want to create. I don't think you want a space in front of the comma. Is that a period or a comma?
Comma.
So now let me pause you real quick. So Roger, the reason why I have my Boolean there is it's a safety trigger. If you just uncheck rule disabled inadvertently and you're working in like the file that Peter's working right now, that will automatically trigger the rule.
No, I get that.
So having the my Boolean is like the safety check. You untrigger the rule, and then you have to consciously trigger them. Make my Boolean true to make the rule to make this rule trigger. So it's just one extra step you have to take to trigger the rule.
Okay, now here's a question. I'm on sync mode now, and we need to set the default and a suggested for it also.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Okay.
You gotta create them first before you can set them. So remember, the code needs, you have to do things in kind of linear fashion, and you can't set something's value until it's actually been created. Okay?
Yep.
So now those 4 lines of code will create those 4 attributes. Now what you want to do is type the word type attribute, and then a square bracket, and then quote the name of the attribute. Square brackets, and then you say, oh no, it's not square brackets, it's a parentheses, sorry. That's why we have Mr. Anderson's documentation. And now you do square brackets because it's essentially a dictionary now. And you'll say, what value are you setting? Or it's
Default.
Which is it? Default, yeah, and it's lowercase d actually. And then equals, and then whatever that is. Okay, and then you'll do that same thing for
Okay.
now, is that a semicolon? So is sync mode a string or should it be a list?
Oh, I had it set as a string. You're right. Maybe a list would make more sense.
Right?
Well, no,
Because
no, it's a string because it's only one value at a time.
got it. Okay, you're right. You're right. Okay.
So the suggested is the list of suggestions, but the attribute
Yeah,
itself
but
is
you're
just
only
a
but you're
single
only
value.
doing one value at a time. Right.
Right.
You're right.
So basically, I'm
Okay.
relying on the drop-down menu functionality for that attribute to be able to very cleanly switch modes. So you go
Yeah,
to
you're
the
absolutely right. That took me 2 years to learn how to do, honestly. I had to redo all of my files after 2 years once I figured that out.
because it makes it so much faster just being able to toggle modes that way, and then
It
everything
does,
adjusts.
and we can demonstrate that to people in just a minute. So you have so that's the only 4 you want to create and the only 2 sets of defaults you want to set, correct?
Yeah.
All right. So let's copy this rule. Or copy this note. Sorry. No, not the rule. Just copy the note again.
Okay.
Go back to your test file or create a new test file or open a new test file. Delete that. Delete those two files too. Okay. No. Sometimes it's easier just to create a new file. Since this is a test file, delete this one. Okay, open a file. I don't know what happened to Tinderbox. Crash or did it? Oh yeah, it crashed.
Ouch.
Happens.
Probably because I'm on the latest beta.
Okay, paste your note in. Okay, and then copy that into the rule. You want to get rid of your report, your unexpected credit.
Okay. Open the inspector. Rule.
All right.
Oh,
And you've got rule disabled, so that's fine. No, just check the my boolean. Okay. See hints have automatically been opened. Now go over to your system attribute, your user generated attributes, and there you go.
good. Perfect.
Okay. Now sync results didn't get its default.
Oh, sync results didn't have a default because that's set by the script. So the
Got
user
it.
never really touches it. That's basically
So
just a
which one?
read-only attribute.
How about sync mode?
Okay, sync mode.
Yeah, it got its
Yep,
default.
default defend.
Now, did you do sync mode twice? I'm looking at your code. No, look at your code. Sync mode equals
Sync
system
mode,
attribute.
sync result. And the attributes sync mode, we had to set 2 different attributes on it.
No, you didn't. I don't understand.
Well, first I set the default and then I set the suggested.
Oh, suggested. Got it. Yeah. Okay, great. Okay. So, okay, that's perfect.
Are
So
those
now we know we can
values?
generate. Now we know we can create our attributes. So let's go back to your original file.
Hold on, just while you're doing this, we just had the conversation about should an attribute be a string or a list, and
Oh yeah,
and
let's go ahead and demonstrate that.
Yeah.
one is well, hang on. See, I'm looking at this big blank description box in the sync mode and these attributes, and if this is meant to be shared with other users who have questions like what the Boolean is for, then perhaps in that description block,
Okay.
you could
Then
add
going
some text.
Yeah, but you wouldn't do that there, Peter. Go back to your original file.
Okay.
Okay.
Back
Okay.
to
And by the way, while we're at it, click the rule disabled. Okay, and actually, let's do this. Do that. Yeah, we'll play with this later. Okay, so now what he and Dave's right. So what you want to do now is under sync mode, create a new line under sync under the. Oh no, yeah, create a new line. Say attribute sync mode. Then the brackets description, yep, and then give it a description.
Okay.
Yes, Mr. Roger.
That bracket default bracket equals a value. Is that a default dictionary that's being defined?
Yeah, so attribute is the attribute command is a dictionary.
Yep.
And you're just populating the dictionary values.
Okay. Over in the other note, I mean the other tinderbox, there was okay. Here where it says brackets, quote suggested quote bracket equals, what is that?
So suggested, so the user generated attributes are stored in Tinderbox as dictionaries.
Okay, and that's just the default global dictionary then.
Right. And so default is the default value for that dictionary item.
Yep.
The description is the description for that dictionary item. We're just populating the dictionary item's values. So in this case, the dictionary item sync mode has a default, it has a description, it has a suggested value, and we're populating those.
Okay, thanks.
And the reason why you couldn't type them into the inspector is because they don't exist until the installer runs. So you have to have the installer action type all the descriptions. I get it.
Well, yeah, I mean, he could type it into there, but then you're doing it manually. The whole point is you want the installer doing it.
Right, right. But yeah, so the first time you open it, they're not going to exist. This creates them and then it has to type them in there. You can't type them in there now.
Correct. By the way, too, Peter, I found that like using apostrophes, backslashes, etc. in a description can break shit.
Okay.
So if you think about some of those special characters, you want to rewrite your text so you're not using characters that could break the string parsing.
Okay.
And most of the time it's okay, but it's the times that it's not that get annoying. So it's just a good idea just to not put yourself in that situation. Okay.
All right. There we go. And close it off there.
All right, okay. Now let's go and create a template.
Oh, here's a question. Is there any way to set it so that that note can only contain those three values and the user can't accidentally clobber the three values that the source code is looking for something else?
No. There's no way to lock attribute value creation.
Okay, that means I'll probably have to update my script to recognize if it's not one of the three values it's expecting, and then flash an alert to tell the user that they can only use one of those three values.
Correct.
Because I hadn't thought about that because I wasn't trying to make it bulletproof yet.
Correct. So that's the kind of stuff that Chuck and I have been doing when we're creating the installer. That's where it gets kind of squirrely, is when you start thinking about you have empathy for the user on the other end of your installer. That's where like 99% of the installer work comes into play, actually.
Okay, what's next?
All right, so next, now under create or under template, I'm sorry. Okay, now this is where it can it's easier just to kind of create a variable. So you create var :string. I think you don't want the space. And you'll say like v temp path equals quotes / templates. Yeah, you can put that there. That's fine. Quote, semicolon. Okay, and then the next thing is you're going to say create. Oh, and then I do this too. Actually, this is this can be really helpful as I remember it. Create var string
Or string.
v note equals nothing. Okay, then you want to say v note equals create. And I gotta remember the create. Just a minute. Create. Yeah. Okay. So the container and it comes first. So you say v note semicolon v temp path.
Okay, v note create. V temp path.
Comma, and then the name of the template you want to create. So quote, and then what's the name of the template you're creating?
Oh, maybe auto sync text so that it won't accidentally clobber something that they had as a text
Correct.
template.
Yeah, and you might want to put your name down too, like PW _ autosync text. And what you also may want to do is think of a versioning strategy so that in the future, and then you might want to say like _R1. And so later down the road, if you create an R2, you can delete the R1 and then replace it with an replace that R1 or something like that. The versioning replacing can get really tricky depending on how you're doing it. But for now, just play with it like that. All right.
Okay, so let's see. Actually, it should be then P1 auto sync R1.
And remember, it's a template, so you want to you want to do maybe lead it with a lowercase t. That's an R. Yeah.
Okay, TPW auto sync R1.
And maybe make it auto sync _ PWR1. That sounds clearer to me. And get the PW out of the front. And again, you can name it anything you want. You're just trying to create a
Yeah, make sure it won't accidentally clash with.
Right.
I want to make sure that I don't clobber something and break someone's template. I'd hate to have someone run my installer and then break their application because they ran my installer.
Correct. So now hit quotes, close that out. Semicolon. No, you need the parenthesis. Okay. So what that does is that creates a note called T autosync PWR1 in the templates directory. So now what you want to do though, when the process of doing that, you now need to tell Tinderbox that that note you just created is actually a template. So you want to scroll down and say $, is template. You need a capital S or capital I mean. Okay, and why don't you explain what you just did when you put V note? You naturally got where I was going with that, but maybe everyone else doesn't.
Okay, I was using the variable to call up the path to the note so that the attribute would find the note that I wanted to change.
Yeah, so what people may not understand is what happened was when the operator command created the note for us, that operator command create returns the path of the note it just created. So we're by saying v note equals create, we're populating the variable v note with the path of the note we just created. So that way, when we say is template, path of the note we just created equals true. Okay. Now go ahead and hit return. And now say $text vnote equals, and now go grab the note from like the text that you want for your auto sync note.
It was really simple. It was just text followed by children.
Yeah. Okay. Now, do you have another template you need?
Well, I had a children template, but I'm not sure if I use that in this code. Well, I might as well bring it over. It's
Well, yes and no. Yes and no. You don't want to create unnecessary code unless you have to. You want to keep your install.
okay. Let's leave that out for now. I'll just see if I wind up needing it later. I think that was only needed by the grammar note.
Okay.
So basically, the Peggy subset of the project was using that, but it wasn't part of the base autosync subset.
Got it. So go back to the installer rule.
Oh wait, that's the
Fine. Okay. So now you've created your template, right? And you can just copy and paste that pattern for any number of, and let's just create the children one just for fun so you can see it. So if you copy everything vnote from where you're at up to vnote, copy that up to vnote. Up, there you go. Nope, not the variable, just the note. Nope. From vnote. Nope. The line vnote. There you go. Copy that block. Copy it and then paste a new one. Okay. Now, because you've done that, all you need to do is change the name auto sync to something else. What was it? Children?
yeah.
T children, PWR1.
Or actually, this is part of the Peggy project, so
Yeah, but does Peggy mean anything? Do you want it to be Peggy children or something or whatever? And then you change that text to whatever you want it to be. So, but what I found when I was making my installer, realizing that you can populate the path with the vnote variable, that makes creating new things really quickly, and you can then modify the whole process very fast just by copying and pasting those chunks. Okay, and you can use the same method to recreate existing templates like the preview if you need it, but that gets automatically generated once you actually view a note. So things like that. All right, so does this make sense for you so far, Peter?
yeah. Well, let's see. Even though the template was children, the actual template was for categories. So maybe it should be T category.
Whatever you want.
Yeah.
And again, you can always change it later. Now copy all of that code all the way up to the first variable. Nope, stop. Copy that. Go ahead and paste that down into your prototypes block. Okay. Now change it's not temp path, it's proto path. Okay, and then change proto path into each of the creates. Okay, and then now you want to create your prototype. So P, whatever the prototype name is.
Okay, so that'll be
First, no, go up to do the first one. So P, and then what do you have? Like auto sync file.
okay. That'll work.
Okay, now you're not going to give any text to your prototype. So go ahead and delete that text line. And you're going to change the is to is prototype. Okay, now here's a fun little trick. On the next line where it's blank right now, type $ displayed attributes equals quote quote or equals quote quote semicolon. Now go to your displayed attributes sync file. Or go to your, yeah. Now click the displayed attributes. Copy all that. Go up to your installer rule. And paste that in.
Oh, I never knew about that.
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant.
Right. Because it's just a list. Now you repeat that process for every one of the prototypes you want to create.
Okay, then we'll just need.
But you first need to fill out the lines. Create the displayed attribute row for the next one. Because you're now doing is prototype and you change the name. It's not T category now, it's whatever that new.
Oh, actually, we won't need to do that because the next one is the
It's the
text
sync text
file
file,
one,
right?
and that's inheriting everything else from the first one that we just did. So what we need there is to simply set its prototype to being auto sync
Don't
files
delete that one.
prototype.
No, Peter. Hit undo. Hit undo. You're modifying the next one. The V note, V path, the T category. The next line down,
Yeah,
you're modifying
okay.
that one.
All right, so this will become T auto sync. Let's call it /escaped file.
Okay.
Because this is going to be the one where the / is passed through automatically.
Right. And you're saying its prototype is the previous one?
Yeah.
All right. So go ahead and set that. So instead of saying is template, you would say is prototype, or you say prototype and get rid of is temp. Change that to is prototype. No,
But
no,
wouldn't that inherit it or that
no,
one?
it needs to it's easier enough just to make sure it's correct.
Okay. And then we want the prototype to be P auto sync file.
Okay. And what about the last one?
We don't need to worry about that. That was part of the Peggy project.
Okay, so you only need those two then.
Yeah, so we just need those two.
All right. Now, this is where the next thing comes. It can be a little so now you see we've created the prototypes, we've created our attributes, and now what we want to do is use our libraries. So I'm going to show you a different trick for this. Because grab the var string the prototype path.
Okay, let me just show you real quickly here. On the libraries, it's these two rules that I need to bring over.
Right. So go back up. Grab the can you hit Command-7 to get rid of the link? Okay, great. Grab the var string v prototype path. Put that underneath that create or move libraries. Okay. Now make that live path or yeah. Okay.
Okay.
And now what you want to do is take the sync and the sync text libraries and copy them. No, just select no. Select both notes and copy them. Hit copy.
Yep.
Go up to the installer. Hit paste. And now tab them in. All right. And now you want, and now here's a really important trick when you're doing this strategy. You now have two files with the same name. And Tinderbox is going to look for those files. So what you want to do is do an first you want to
I should probably name them with the P
do
underscore.
an _ ins for install. No, at the end. Okay. And you don't want their action running, so make their prototypes none. Okay. Now go to your installer rule. Go down to the bottom. And now you want to say, $ container. I always get this wrong. Let me double check it. It's either container or path. I don't remember.
I think it's container.
I think you're right. And give it the path of the hints folder. So $ container of the note, sorry, quote, sync _ install.
Is that what we're shooting for?
No. Just get rid of the VLive path. Equals, and you remember container is an attribute. Equals, and then the VLive path. Lowercase v. So essentially what you're saying is take the file name sync _ install and move it to the hints library directory. Does that make sense?
Okay, then I should use maybe a autosync PWR1 prefix on that.
Probably.
Yeah, let me do that.
No. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's fine.
Well, actually, we were doing that as a suffix, not a prefix. So
No. Do it after the sync, not before the install, because I'm going to remove that in a minute. No, leave that. Leave the install.
oh, should make that the new name of the file?
Yeah. If that's what you want. It's kind of long, but it's all right.
I just want to make sure I don't accidentally clubber anything that someone has already.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and by the way, create the vnote variable again. I typically do it below. You don't really need to create it because you've already created it above, but I find it doesn't hurt anything to create it again. Because when you're copying and pasting for future, no, just say variable string vnote, just redeclare the variable.
Okay.
No, equals nothing. I don't think you need the space in front of the equals, but that's fine. And then okay, and yeah, and this is what you do. Go down and hit a line break, say vnote equals. Now give it the name of of your file name, autosync p something install. Quote, yeah. Semicolon. Now make that vnote. Yeah, because what you're trying to do too is for your future self, you want to create a pattern that will make it easy for you to copy and replace. Okay, so now copy that vnote and the container language and do the same thing for your other note.
Okay.
And you might want to change the sync text install note. Oh, we need one more. Actually, we need one more line before you do that, but that's fine.
Let's see. That'll be the / escaped one.
No, put the install at the end.
Okay, then this will be the name.
Okay, go back to your installer. Okay, now there's 2 additional lines you need to create. You want to say underneath the first one, underneath the first container line.
Yeah.
Say $sign prototype vnote equals action. Do you want to turn it into a library? It's cap, yeah. There you go. And you want to, and then hit return again. Then you want to say $sign name vnote equals.
Without the INS.
No. Equals $name dot replace. Because again, remember, what you're looking for is to create repeatable patterns. So parentheses, quote, underscore INS. Quote, comma, 2 quotes, semicolon. Now copy those 2 lines and put them underneath. So you see what I'm doing then is you've got a common pattern to be able to now remove the install value as part of the name. Because when you're actually running your other code and your templates and all of that, you don't want that install prefix or suffix on your library. Okay, now you should be good to go. So now you can copy all of that, put it in the installer's rule. Hit Command 1. Oh, yeah, and go to the rule. Hit paste.
Oh, should we do that on the test
No, you
file?
can do it here. You can do it here. It's fine. Okay. And now create a new Tinderbox file, copy that note over the new Tinderbox file, and let's see what happens.
Okay. Yes, I copy the note with the children.
No, you can, if you copy the note, the children come automatically with it.
Oh, okay. Copy.
Create a new file. You can close the inspector. It's kind of in the way. Hit paste. Okay, now uncheck the rule and check my Boolean. Okay, go to outline and see if your prototypes got created. You've got a typo somewhere. You called it prototype and not prototypes in the directory name. In your action.
Oh, yes, I see now.
Yeah, in your action code, go back to your original rule. Yep, right there. vpath proto equals, you need to put an S there.
Okay.
So now you need to update that rule.
Taking all that out.
Copy all that text. No. Copy all the text and update the notes. Hit Command 1. Hit paste. Or there you go. Paste it in.
All right.
Okay. Now create a new Tinderbox file and do it again. And the reason why you want a new Tinderbox file is you're creating new. You want to make sure the user generated attributes are working and all of that. Okay. Uncheck. Go over to the outline view and take a look to see if your prototypes and templates are there.
Okay, action. AutoSync file PWR1. Auto
Okay,
sync
click on them to
25%.
make sure your displayed attributes are there. Which they're not, so we got to see what we did wrong. Oh, I know why. I'll go back to the oh, I know why. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so go back to your rule where you say in the note that the prototypes. Oh no, prototypes should have your displayed attributes. Why don't they? Because no, you shouldn't do need to set displayed attributes equals. It was working before, right?
Yeah.
What did we break?
Oh, maybe we need to save note.
Yes, vnote. There you go. Now copy that into your new rule. There you go.
Ah,
And then go see if your templates are there. Okay. Now, let's do one last thing. Go back to your rule. Scroll all the way to the bottom. Right there. And type delete. Parenthesis, quote, installer rule. So that way, once the installer is done installing, you have it delete itself. And right before that, why don't you type show parenthesis, quote, congratulations, installation success. All right, and then quote, comma, nope. Quote, comma, quote, white, quote, green. No, quote, white, quote, comma, green. And then once you say comma 5, to let it have it be there for like 5 seconds. All right, now copy that into your rule. And then when you actually publish this, you won't leave all of that text in your installer rule. You just leave it in the rule. And we could try one thing too. Okay, and then go ahead and check the box. All right, and it looks like white is maybe needs to be lowercase and maybe green's lowercase. Let me double check, Joe. Oh, it should be green, and do lowercase g. No, just change that, okay, and then comma, and then lowercase white. There you go. And then let's do one other thing. Go to the rule of this note, just for fun. Let's see if this is going to work. And say, have it call the text. How would we have a rule call its text? No. I'm trying something different. Delete all that in the rule. Delete all of that. And say, Peter, how would you suggest we do it? Can we say like rule equals text or something? Just hit paste. We'll deal with it later. All right, now copy that into your note.
Okay, starting new again. Congratulations, installation success.
Or successful, but you can fix that later. There you go.
Ah,
And then one thing you might want to do, go all the way to the end. Go to before the show. Create a new note or create a new comment saying read me. No, comment, not a dollar sign, comment. Read me. Hit return. Say v note equals create. Quote, parenthesis quote, read me. Semicolon. Then say or dollar sign order v note equals 1 semicolon, and then text v note equals, and then say this is a readme for this note. For now, just say this is a readme. You can fix it later. Okay, now copy that into the rule and do the test again. So essentially, what this does is this auto installs the readme.
all right. And copying. I may be crashing.
No, let me see it.
I have a spinning beach ball.
Oh, got it. Yeah, you might need to force quit and start it over.
Well, while he's doing that, Michael, the pattern here is you create this in all this infrastructure in one Tinderbox document, and then drag the corresponding note into the other document where you want to do the installation. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
And the back and forth we're just doing is just incrementally testing our code as we're going through it.
Yep. And Peter, when you get back, would you mind pasting that rule into the chat?
Let's see.
So double
Lose
check that we didn't lose.
anything? No, we didn't lose anything.
All right. So copy that into a new file.
Let me just make sure that the rule's all there. Yes.
No, is it the right rule? Did it?
All right. Let me check
Oh.
bottom.
Just scroll down. Crashed again?
Yeah.
Huh.
Oh,
What's wrong with your README code here? Yeah, just copy all of that and paste it into the. But it looks like order is not correct. Why is that? Why is order not? Because it's not purple. What's the? It's not sibling order. It should be order. Why is
outline order.
outline order? That's it. There you
There
go.
we are. Now it's purple.
Yeah. Okay. Now put that in the rule. That's probably why it was crashing. Because it didn't.
That would make sense.
It didn't know what order was.
Okay, we're there now.
Okay. Hit save. Hit copy. Paste that over a new file. Okay, go to the outline view. And your README didn't get created. Oh, I know why. You know why?
Why?
You got to give it a root. Give it the / README. You didn't give it a path. vnote create /readme. It needs a path. It didn't know where to create it. Now, if you put that in the rule. Okay. And
Yay!
yeah, but your note can outline order vnote should equal 1. So go ahead and it should have moved that to the top of the list. Or maybe it should have been 0. We'll have to test that. Because your outline
Where's
order,
0?
it should have changed its outline order to 1 or to the top of the list. All right, but that's it. So that's the basics on how you create an installer, and it can get insanely more complicated than that.
Yeah, please paste that into the chat if you would.
All right, let's see.
But you know, I've got installer code that's like 500-600 lines, but it's generally that same pattern.
Too long to paste in.
You can email it to me and I'll put it on.
Yeah, I'll email the file, and then Michael can share it.
All right, just
Thank you, sir.
all right, everybody. And Kenneth, just real quick, shall we do the table view really quick? I got about 5 minutes, then I got to run.
Sure.
No, I'll pass on that.
All right, so why don't we do it next week?
Uh,
Tables are super easy, but we're running out of time. So
and a compare and contrast with bases in Obsidian.
yeah, and we'll do.
Yeah.
Okay, so why don't we do those? We'll do those next week. We'll have a nice agenda item for next week then.
Very good.
All right. So did you all enjoy this? Was it useful, helpful, interesting?
Yes.
Oh, thanks so much.
Yeah, an impromptu installer class. Didn't expect that today, but that was fun.
Really great.
All right. Hey, everybody. See you later.
Yeah, and then I'll send you the file with
Yeah, I'll
the
send it
smallest
posted later.
installer when I have it all hammered out now.
All right. Beautiful. See you, everybody.
Yep, thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.